Ready first tonight,
I'd
Brian.
like to call our first meeting of this new year together. I'll have the clerk call the roll, please.
Chris Head. Present. Mary Jean Krieger.
Present.
Mitch Magnus. Present. John Oath.
Present.
Brian Oswald. Heath Kirkpatrick. Present. Joe Williams. Present. Dean Taylor.
Present.
Thank you, Mr. Brad. This time I'd like to have everybody stand, and we have a guest with us tonight that's going to deliver our prayer, and please remain standing for the pledge, and Mr. Brian Herring.
Father, we just thank you for this opportunity to do the business of this city. We pray that you would grant us wisdom according to James 1:5. And Lord, you would direct our paths tonight. Lord, we pray that you would bring peace on this city. And Lord, we just pray that we would honor you in everything we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
You thought he forgot how to pray.
Okay. If everybody's had a chance to look at the minutes from December 28th, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion for approval and a second. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Move down into department reports. Paul, Marvin, you got anything you want to bring up tonight? I'm going to skip over Wade right now, so he's going to be doing a lot of talking later, so. Unless you got something additional, Wade, that I'm not aware of.
I do not.
Okay, we're going to move down to Mr. Packer, and I'm going to, before he gets actually to talking, you have the water and sewer audit in front of you. Okay, we probably won't discuss that tonight. We'll discuss that during the committee meetings, and we can vote for approval or disapproval. We'll hopefully approve it on the next meeting. That's just there for your information to study right now. Okay, Mr. Packer.
All right, like you said, the audit's out, nothing really changed from last year, everything came back good, everything's the same. I did not get financials, and that's purposeful. In December, we have to wait until the end of February to make sure we have everything done for our audit purposes, so even if I did get you something, we'd still have to wait and make sure everything else got in. That being said, sales tax is actually way down. Unfortunately, I have to report that, but someone has actually claimed an $83,000 rebate, that's okay. They have that right off of local taxes. So we actually, for the general fund, only received about $78,000 this month. If they would not have had that rebate, I've calculated we would have got about $94,000 in the general fund, so it's about $16,000 difference. Again, that's about normal, 94,000 is. I was hoping to see it bump up a little bit more because of Amazon, but we just didn't quite see it. And then the big all-at-once rebate was a little bit surprising. So didn't quite end up as much or as well as we would have hoped. Still above budget, but would have liked to see that uptick a little bit more. But that is one of the things I wanted to let you all know. You will see it be significantly lower than what we're used to on a monthly basis. We've tried to rack our brains to see, to try to think who that is. If everybody doesn't know, the sales tax rebates that they can claim, anything over $2,500, they can claim local rebates if they purchase anything over that and pay the sales tax on it. It's just a state law that they have passed, and so we thought it might be the school district doing all theirs, because I know they had several purchases here in town. We checked, that's not the case. The only other thing that it could be was maybe that we can think of with maybe some other businesses here in town that have bought a bunch of equipment in town or supplies in town that happen to be over that $2,500 threshold.
And they can go back for a year.
Yes, 12 months.
It's probably a combination of a lot of different things, a lot of businesses. It was what, the month before is 8,000?
Yeah, the month before was 8,000 in rebates, this month was 83,000 in rebates, so it was just, we weren't expecting it.
Did you say 83?
Yes.
And that's like 1.5% of something? So we're getting to 7 million is what somebody spent?
Are you talking the, well, we only have a 1 1/4, and that was,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's significant purchases. That it could have been held up for 12 months. I mean, they could have had all their 12 months,
Yeah.
went back and did their,
It's got to be the school. What else?
They will not release.
they won't tell us what it was from. They'll just let us know that we have an $83,000 rebate.
It wouldn't be, it'd be, Naples.
Ask them. We have
83,000?
not heard that that was the case. So.
Wow.
But counties also got hit by it.
But want to be up front and let you all know that's what's going on. We should hopefully have a little bit more idea of where we're at as far as financials. Hopefully nothing will come in too much after the next council meeting. So hopefully we'll have that ready for you to look at. Does anybody have any other questions on that sales tax right off the hand? I know that's kind of shocking, surprising, tough pill to swallow, but that could happen to anybody. So.
After I called around to different places, Luke come up here and, of course, he'd opened it up before I got it open. Hey, look at our sales tax. What in the world? But anyway, we tried to reason, and he made a phone call down there, an email, and got some results on it. And I've called around and counted. Believe it or not, there's some places they have to give a refund. It's happened before that counties or cities, municipalities had to give a refund. It's not the case here, but it did happen to us. So. But, you know, you look at all those things, that money's going to come back to us, whoever, you know, I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. I'm not going to name anybody's names, but that money will turn around for us because it's improvements to our city, whatever's done. So that money's coming back, and it's not lost. Believe it or not, that money's not lost.
And we'll know more after next month too, once we find out. It could be that there were, I'm not going to say there was a mistake because that probably wouldn't have happened, but we'll know a little bit more about where we're really at next month. I don't foresee this being the trend. Like I said, we would have been, if it wouldn't have been for the rebate, we actually have been at about 94, which is very normal. So.
Okay, any questions for Luke? Okay, David's not here tonight, so Mr. Eddington in the Parks has a presentation he wants to give.
As promised, we got our final numbers in from 2017 budget. You have a copy of that. That's the first couple of pages, and then we just approved our 2018 budget, and that one is also in there. And then on the back sheet is a list of the event schedule we have for this upcoming year through Parks. We did finish with a $12,000 deficit for 2017. We had a lot of safety issues, as you can see when you look at the line, and that's not even complete yet. We also had the $10,000 for the final pool contract that we had to pay off at the very first of the year last year. That was $10 grand, and then some of our tournament income was down because we didn't get as many big tournaments last year. So that was kind of a big one. But our safety is, like I said, still not complete. And then in the 2018 budget, with the allotment increase and then our $34,000 of asset replacement we added, it still comes out to a $15,000 deficit budget. which we're hoping to overcome by the tournaments that we were able to get this year. We knocked the tournaments out of the park with the high school. We got every tournament we bid on except basketball. So we have 1A, 3A regionals, and 5A state baseball and softball, and 5A state soccer. So we'll have 72 buses here on May the 10th for that tournament this year. Plus we have another Babe Ruth regional, which is a week-long tournament in the middle of July. We actually had to turn away another softball regional because of the Llama motorcycle rally coming to town, which the hotels are all full. So I had to turn that one away, which would be about 50 teams. So, but we are totally, completely booked. We're trying to offer some new tournaments of rag ball, which the Grandma's House has been doing and been bringing in 32 teams. So we're going to try to do a couple of those on our weekends. We've been struggling to have a tournament, so we're hoping that works out and takes off. So that can be our next avenue of adding more revenue. The first things we're looking at as far as our asset replacement on that line is some safety issues we have at the youth center and at the complex. They have to be replaced pretty much immediately for insurance purposes. Fire did the inspection. We were able to buy the flooring and the partitions in the bathroom at the pool already on the 2017 budget, but we have not been able to replace them yet. So that's what we're going to next after we finish the building we're working on at the complex. So we have a schedule, weather permitting, we're going to be able to do that. So if you have any questions on any budget, feel free to come to my office or call me, set up a meeting. We can go down each one if you have any questions and go through it. I'm hoping, like I said, to be able to make up some of that deficit with what we got coming this year and what we're trying to do. And we're actually hoping to increase our kids program. We're trying to expand it where we're offering different kinds of classes during our summer rec program, getting some volunteers to come up and making it more like a YMCA as far as offering different things besides just sporting activities. So we're going to see how that goes too. This is in 2018. So I'm glad. I think we had a good year last year. You know, like I said, we had a couple things come up, which our facilities are getting older, so there's no telling what may come up in 2018, but I'll keep you guys informed as soon as I know. And hopefully we can stay on track with the asset list we have. I'm hoping we have a great 2018, but we'll just see how it goes. But I'll keep you informed of everything I know. So thank you again for everything for 2017, and hopefully we all have a great 2018. Thank you.
I would remind council that Chuck and the commission did a analysis of their needs for asset replacement over the next several years. And again, even if we were to double their allotment, it's not even going to come close to replacing what they need to replace. So it's the very first thing that when new residents move to town ask is they ask potential residents, they ask about the school, the hospital, and the park system. So just point that out. You need to make sure that they're properly funded, but also the general public needs to know that there's some other needs there that we can't meet.
And most of our assets we have in there that we do that thing is the safety first. Like we make sure we get all the safety issues. And like I said, everyone knows the light bulbs are the most costly ones I think coming up. So that was the big number in the asset list.
First thing I want, Chuck, if you want to kind of talk about a little bit, we're now closing the street over in front of the youth center. Okay, can you give a time frame?
We were talking because we have a lot of kids that like to play outside when the weather's nice. They don't like to stay inside. So I talked to the mayor and Wade, and we borrowed some barricades, and I talked to Chief Woodruff, and what we're doing now is we got a road barricaded right from about half the street right there on Spring Street to the little circle drive where the kids can play, and we shut that street down now from about 3:30 to 5:30 or so, the kids are safe right there in front of the youth center. So they have a little bit more space to get in, they can be supervised, and we can try to keep them safe and monitor them a little bit better. Because we want them to be outside and be moving around and playing, but we want it to be safe, and they were getting closer and closer to the main street, so we kind of told them to stay within that area, so it's working out great. Parents are happy. I think it's a lot safer environment, so. And we haven't had any complaints yet as far as I know about closing the road down. They're still able to park and pick up their kids.
They may not be, a lot of people know about it, there may be a little time frame inconvenience there, but safety-wise for the kids, it's great.
With the junior high not being over, it's probably a lot more accessible to do that now with the traffic coming over, so it's actually working out. So.
That's a good idea.
Well, like I say, we haven't had any, I don't know if all of you've had any complaints, haven't had any off either, so.
We let the parents know a week in advance that we're gonna start doing this. And the pickup may be a little different, but it's been going smooth so far.
An improvement that didn't cost a dime.
Right. Great.
Then your neighbor. Moving those cones out there.
Well, they're not cones, they're regular barricades. Yeah. Any questions for Mr. Eddie? Thank you. Ms. Tapley's not here tonight, she's going to a meeting, but I will mention, if we do have a government shutdown, probably within our city, other than federal, our housing actually gets affected. It's one of probably the only department within our city that is affected by government shutdown. But her funding is fine through it's fine through the end of this month, and she will probably get her funding for February. But the Congress doesn't get the budget done or appropriate the money, housing could be affected. Like I say, it's probably the only department within our city that's affected by federal funds. All right, we'll move down into committee reports, and I think, Mr. Williams, you do have something out of your committee you want to bring up.
Yes, City Planning Commission had a discussion on draft zoning code and land development regulations. And there will be a public hearing on both of these regulations on February the 15th at 6 p.m. in City Hall chambers. Everybody is invited. It's this kind of thing.
Does anybody, have we knocked that out? We were going to, weren't we?
Yeah, the zoning code and the land development stuff. Yeah, I think it is stomped out.
We'll say if anybody, I can actually loan out my copy if anybody wants a hard copy of it, but.
Do y'all want more than one weekly publication in the newspaper? One is the only required notice in the paper. Do you want more?
I think we do anything out of the ordinary. It is, Wade and the Planning Commission have done a lot of work on this, on these codes and everything, and it's going to make our public works department so much easier to operate. We won't have gray areas that they'll have to stutter through, and going forward with our city, it's great. It's great. They did a lot of work, and I'm proud of it. But it will take a little while to read through them. I do have the public, if somebody wants to come in, I'd be glad to loan my copy out. Not an extended period, but if they want to read it.
And I've got a copy too.
Yeah.
They can use it too.
And you did approve a new development also. The Planning Commission approved a new development which will create about 60 more jobs in our city too.
Yeah. One out on Gibson Road.
Yes.
And Rock Springs Road, right on the corner. It's a, let's see, what do you call it? Assisted living.
And all-time.
Yeah. And it looks like a good one.
Yes.
I may be there just before long.
You better hurry and build it.
Yeah.
Let's hope not. It has not, they proved the variance,
The special use permit.
special use permit. Yeah. Now, their planning, their building permit has not, they have come forward with
Who's putting it in?
it. A lady out of Mountain, out of Huntsville.
Countryside.
She's in the business over there.
Yes. But she's actually from here. Okay, Mr. Williams, you have anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Mr. Maggins?
Nothing out of finance, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. O?
Nothing.
Mrs. Krager?
Well, we have something to do under new business, which Jeremy presented at the
Yes.
meeting, and he did an excellent job.
Good. I heard that. I missed that. Well, Mr. Oldswall's not here. Of course, his stuff is down there, and Mr. Head has not been officially approved yet for his space, so that's got to be approved down below, so. And I'll cover some of the things in here, but I do have one thing under resources and policy, and I'm gonna get Wade started on this already. It's it's the ADEQ resolution on our composting, so Wade, if we wanna go ahead and cover that right now, so.
Yeah, this is we operate a composting facility out on what we call the city farm, next to the wastewater plant. And we were going through permitting requirements and renewals last year. One of the things that we do have to do in order to operate that is provide financial assurance to the ADQ that in the event we cease operations of that facility and don't want to properly close it according to their regulations, they have a way to make sure that gets done. We do this through a contract of obligation. That's based off of an estimate of the total cost to hire a third party to come in, close the facility, dispose of any product that needs to be disposed of properly within ADQ's regulations. And then what the contract will allow is if we, I guess, for whatever reason, decide we don't want to do it, what the ADEQ can do is take over, close it at their expense, and then they can recover that money from
State turnback.
Yeah, state turnback funds. This agreement would actually be on file with the Department of Revenue for the state. It is a requirement. It's something that we have to have in place, otherwise we do lose our permit. We did do a contract of obligation back in 2015 in the amount of $25,000. This now it's increased to $63,000. That's a combination of the $25,000 that's sort of been carried forward probably a few too many years, and then also we just increased the amount of material that we're composting out there. So that's driven up that price. But ultimately, there's no direct cost right now. This is just us committing to the ADQ that it will be closed correctly when the time comes.
Okay, what, I doubt we're sure if y'all had a chance to read this, but this is something actually we just got a day or two ago. It's not anything new. The only changes on this, they upped our obligation to it from 25,000 to 73,000.
Correct.
And the only thing that actually needs to be done is a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the contract of obligation. But if anybody's got any questions about it, like I say, it's a yearly thing. The only thing they've changed on this is the dollar figure. Does anybody have any questions about it? We plan on continuing this. We're not going to shut it down because it's a big asset to our city. Formality more than anything, I'm going to say.
How long is the contract for?
It renews annually unless notified. It renews annually unless notified by one of the parties.
Oh. Well, I knew I didn't remember it last year.
No, we wouldn't go back and do this most likely unless they request the rest of the changes to the email and like.
Okay, thank you.
We did do one a couple years ago.
2015 was the last time we did it.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the resolution.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second. We'll open up for discussion. There being no discussion, all those in favor by aye?
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion carries. All right, we can get that off. Okay, we're gonna move down into ordinances and resolutions, and, has anybody got any feedback on the water rate increase? Has anybody got any? Believe it or not, I haven't got anything at all.
We had that public hearing, no one.
Yeah. Well, tonight we have it set to put on its second reading. And, actually, to save the city a little money, I'd like to ask to you, after we do the second reading, that you suspend the rules and put it on its third reading. That would save the city about $3,500 or a little bit more if we had to go another month. Because what we're gonna have to do now is, we'll have to, if we pass this, we will send out notices to the ones we supply and give them 30 days, telling them that their rate's gonna increase too. So it's not fair to just send them a bill, I don't think. You know, we will give them 30 days notice. But that's what I'm asking of you. It's up to the council whether or not to do that or not, but I'll entertain a motion to place it on its second reading by title only.
I make a motion to place the ordinance on its second reading by title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to place it on its second reading by title only. Any discussion? There being no discussion, I'll have the clerk call the roll, please.
Chris Head. Aye. Mary Jean Krieger.
Yes,
Mitch Magnus.
Yes.
John Oates.
Yes.
Brian Oswald absent. Keith Kirkpatrick.
Yes.
Joe Williams.
Yes.
Dina Taylor.
Yes.
Motion carried.
An ordinance amending city code section 10.04.01 to increase water billing rates by 5 cents per 1,000 gallons.
Well, at this time, I will entertain a motion to suspend the rules and
I
place.
make a motion to suspend the rules and place the ordinance on its third reading by title only.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? There being no discussion, we'll have the clerk call the roll.
Mary Jean Krieger.
yes,
Mitch Magnus.
Yes.
John Oates.
Yes.
Brian Oswald absent. Keith Kirkpatrick.
Yes.
Joe Williams.
Yes.
Dina Taylor.
Yes.
Chris Head.
Yes.
Motion carried.
An ordinance amending city code section 10.04.01 to increase water billing rates by 5 cents per 1,000 gallons.
I entertain a motion for adoption.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second for adoption. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor by aye? Aye. All opposed, same. I'll entertain a motion to adopt an emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on the emergency clause? There being none, all in favor by aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same. We can get those letters out and get our billing straightened out.
I appreciate the mayor bringing it to our attention to save that $3,500.
It'll make up a little bit for that rebate.
you're gonna have to try hard.
The trouble is, that goes in a separate fund, water and sewer. Okay, we'll move down into old business, and I will say that I did miss the committee meeting on this. It came out of committee evidently. Inland did come to me about this approach on it. I didn't have a problem, more or less, I didn't want them to go back years and try to reach back benefits, and I don't think really they can according to the contract. They can only ask for an annual. So I'm gonna leave this out to the council. Did it come out of Brian's, what committee did it come out of? I don't have that down here. Who brought it to council? What committee?
Yeah.
So Ryan's not here tonight, so I will put it on the table.
I make a motion that we approve an increase of 2.3%, 36% for Bobcat inland rates.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion for a Bobcat inland CPI increase of 2.3% and a second. Okay, there being any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I thought about this, when it was first approached with the 3%, I made some comments here in chambers. I got thinking about it, and the only reason generally that we would not approve this was that if indeed council was just being punitive against Bobcat inland. I think that we went through quite an 18 months of discussion of council, and it was, I think the air was cleared, and the main thing that we should concentrate on is whether or not the services provided to the public are adequate. And in my own mind, and I would like somebody else's input on this, I thought with the increases that they've had, I would hate to see our service go backward at this point. But we have improved it. And I do understand that they have an increase in cost, specifically on another business here in Harrison that they're engaged with. And I'm hoping the service improves based on that cooperative effort that those two are making. So like I say, my concern is whether or not we're just being punitive by not approving it, or whether really based on some sort of cost. And that's why I made the motion I just made.
Fair assessment.
Mr. Mayor, was the last increase of 2.36 in 2015?
I can't remember if they had an increase. If we've ever.
He said it
You had
was.
one in.
Was it one?
Yeah, we had one.
One increase in 2015? Was that? Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think it was even, I think it's 14.
Yeah, I was gonna say, whether back to
It's not since I've been on council.
Keith could probably.
Keith, you want to
Sir,
address that?
yes, council, it was voted on in 2014 and went into effect January of 2015. I do not know what specifically that was.
I believe it was 2.55 if I'm remembering my spreadsheet correctly.
Okay, any further discussion? I have a motion on the table and a second. All in favor by aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same?
Aye.
Yeah. You get that? Okay.
Motion will be, show Chris Head voting no, all other yes, motion passes 6-0.
Okay. Okay, we will move down into the fire safer grant, new business. And everybody tells me Jeremy did a good job presenting that.
Really good job.
Yeah.
Very professional.
He's done a lot of work on this, and this grant here is the first 2 years that they will pay 75% of 3 people's salary. And the third year they will pay 35%. And we will be responsible after that. Okay. This grant also, well, we're not really going to vote on the grant tonight. We're voting for them to apply for the grant. Then if we get accepted, we'll come back in and vote that we accept the grant. Tonight, all we're doing is authorizing them to apply for the grant. And I think there is a deadline on this.
It's pretty quick too.
Well, I mean, they don't open, it hasn't opened yet, it opens like the 1st of February.
there's a very
The
short
short
time.
time, yeah,
Yeah.
the short time, yeah.
Right there. Well, I make a motion.
I want to be clear that we're just voting on, we're authorizing them to apply for the grant.
Yes, that's what.
Okay, have a
Jeremy
motion and a second?
explained
Okay.
that. I make that motion to that.
Would not second. Second. Any further discussion on this?
How long is are the positions to be held after we get the grant? So like, is there a time frame? Like we have to maintain those positions for 10 years?
No, not 10 years, there is a time frame.
No, I believe it's 1 year. We have to maintain 1 year after the grant, after the 3 year, we maintain for 1 year.
I know that at one time, wasn't there one of the police grants we got once, we had to keep them employed for 7 or?
Our current cops grant, we're required to keep 1 year after the end. We still have 2.5 years left on that one.
Okay.
Because our plan is by the end to need them, we're keeping them anyway. We need to afford to keep them.
You had made the comment in committee that we have times where station number 3 is not manned at all because of the lack of staff.
Yeah.
What do we do in the case when there's I thought we had to maintain someone there in case, or at least when an aircraft is landing, one of the.
We don't have to now, no.
See, that, the aircraft deal was based on, what, 23 passenger planes?
That's what I believe, yeah, it's like,
Yeah, and now they no longer have that service,
Okay.
so it dropped out off of there.
Okay, so
We're not
violating
obligated.
any federal
No.
guidelines.
No.
How often is Station 3 manned at all?
oh, I mean, it's manned, we try to keep manned every day, of course. Very seldom, I mean, it's just whenever we've got people on vacation and sick leave, we try to hire back, overtime. Of course, we had 2 that quit here recently, so that's a shortfall on the shift. So, we'll try to hire overtime, people that's off duty, we try to hire them to come back. And, but we can't, I don't have a number for you exactly how long, because we hope it never comes.
Right.
You know, is our plan, so it's not that often.
And what equipment is stationed there?
There's an engine, a brush truck, and not a brush truck, an arc truck. Yes. That's it.
And we've had to send that arc truck out on,
We got permission from the airport and all to run it on out-of-city rescues, because we would have to spend a lot of money on the truck to keep it running because of the turbos and stuff would cause it not to get running. So it's better for the truck to get it out.
Better for the equipment to be used than to sell.
Yes, you know, so we got permission to run it out on rescue runs.
okay, there been no further discussion on the grant. All in favor, by aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carried. Okay. Committee assignments. I take it everybody is okay with what you came out of the last meeting with? I have a copy of it. All right. Looks like the community environment services welfare stayed the same, right? John. Finance, that is changed. Internal affairs, no changes on that. Safety, okay, Chris added to that. Public Works and Transportation, Chris was added to that.
And John.
And John both?
Yeah.
Well, John, he forgot he just came on. Okay, and Mr. Chris Head is taking, Dina, how'd you get rid of that?
Just told them that-
Were you sitting here when you got rid of that?
I did.
That's not fair when you do that, you know.
Power
chair.
Oh, power chair.
I was on power chair.
Ah,
Incidentally, she did a good job then.
well, okay, I heard that, oh. Okay.
And Dina replaces Brian on my committee.
And we moved down in the, we didn't change anything other than the CATPC liaisons. That CATPC liaison is not right. CATPC, they're not really a liaison, they're appointee, because you can't, yes, you are a member. Well, we can, that's just a wording, that thing. But anyway, okay. I'll entertain a motion that we go with these standing committees for 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Anybody mad? Anybody happy? Okay. Okay. There being no further discussion, all those in favor by aye?
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Okay. I guess you're all happy because there wasn't any no votes. Okay. Thank you all.
Don't worry, Chris, I'm here if you need me. You've got my number.
All right. Okay, we're going to move down into actually my comments. And I think one or two of the council people have been hit on panhandling in our issues or whatever in our city. We do have panhandling in our city. Believe it or not, when I was at a meeting with Arkansas Municipal League, this was one of the topics. And the first words out of their mouth is, stay away from it. Number one being infringes on individual, their First Amendment rights. It infringes on property rights. And many other things. And there's at least one large city in the state is now under a somewhat a legal issue on it, lawsuit issue on it. The state's looked at it. The only way we can actually approach a law on it, it has to be a safety issue. It has to contain something about safety.
Or private property.
Or private property, yes. You know, where we got the issue, we all know. One place usually.
This was brought up a few years ago.
I talked to Walmart about it. Oh, I wasn't gonna say that. I said that. But anyway, I talked to a business about it, and they said they can keep them off their property, but they cannot keep them off the state right. That's up to the state. So we got an issue. Could we get rid of even this instance with us having but the state? You know, there's another issue. What I'm going to say is that we not touch it. I would like to advise the public to not hand out money out of their car. They give it to their churches. They give it to the care and share. They give it to people that act house a whole. They give it to individuals that take care of these issues. I know we all want to help. We all want to help. And but please, actually, we wouldn't have the issue if you didn't hand out money. You know, I've been caught in situations where somebody says, oh, my kids are starving. And I say, well, I'll help you. Let's go to this restaurant. Well, as soon as I said that, there wasn't any kids involved. That person was gone. But I would advise the council probably not to touch the issue at this time.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
If you don't mind, I was one of the council members referring to, and I certainly don't want to put another ordinance on the book that the police have to deal with, difficult to enforce. The several comments that I've received from citizens have been strictly safety issues, where individuals there at the stoplight have either stepped out in the way or they gained the attention of the driver and that car then hits the vehicle in front of them. So that's the only place that I mention it from, is that people are telling me that they have to avoid that intersection when people are there because they're concerned with not only the safety of that person, but other people driving other vehicles. And in fact, one of the people that mentioned it to me said that they hit the car at the car in front of them because, again, that the person panhandling had turned toward them, and they looked at them, made eye contact, and then hit the car in front. Now, there wasn't any real damage, and both parties said, no reason to call the police or anything. But it kind of gummed up the parking lot there for, 15 minutes or 10 minutes.
Well, if you want to pursue it on a safety issue type thing,
well, that's the only
we're going to have to
reason.
do a lot of research.
Well, once again, that's the only comment that was brought to my attention. And that was by 4 different individuals that said that, called and said there's an issue there.
I don't know, man.
The safety issue is already, Paul already has, our laws to enforce. So law enforcement can already use what we've got. But I've been city attorney almost 16 years now, and I think this is the 4th time it's come up. It comes up usually during the holidays or shortly after, every few years, and we run into this thing. Right now, it's more seriously important not to touch it because there is litigation ongoing in the state of Arkansas, close to us, that we can wait and see. If the courts rule to where we are given some latitude, then we can come back and take a look at it. But,
well, and one of the people even mentioned that the difficulty that the city or any municipality would have at a place like that intersection, where you have somebody panhandling there, and if you want to prevent them, but during the holidays we have Salvation Army buckets that people are putting money into. So they understand that, that dichotomy of those 2 issues, but purely from a safety standpoint, I can understand a citizen being concerned, that the 1 email and 3 telephone calls that I received, all 4 of them were about it's difficult to get through that intersection when it occurs. And one of them, like I say, had actually had an accident. And I agree with you on the other points. I agree with Mr. Jonas on the rest of the litigation. I'm just saying that we're having concerns within the public about it.
Springfield, Missouri went through this about a year or so ago. They didn't touch it.
Well,
Branson's going through it right now.
Dentonville, Little Rock,
Yeah, they're all.
Memphis. I go to those places regularly, and it's on every street corner. So, I know every community goes through it.
I know we all want to be good stewards, and we want to help those in need. There's no doubt about that. And believe it or not, our community is very caring and very sharing. But I would advise to go different routes.
I was in Little Rock 2 weeks ago and saw somebody hand $20 to somebody in an intersection.
So you would, somebody in your car?
No. They give $20 of my money away, I'm getting out of the car. There'll be a traffic jam, I promise you.
But however you all want to pursue it, you want to, we just leave it, set it on the table until we, like I say, there is some litigation that may be going on right now. Like Van said, we probably need to wait until that comes, something happens on it, before we get ourselves involved in it. All right. Do you have anything else to say about that? I do. We're going to get into something, we don't have any black curtains behind us, but we have some white curtains somewhat. We're going to go ahead and right now. We'll get into the highway. Which one we're going to?
Okay, I guess regular topic of discussion in town for probably at least 2 decades is the need for a new bypass, because the bypass we have is not really bypassing anything. About 6 years ago, the Highway Department, which is I guess now called RDOT, completed a bypass study taking a look at some options. They kind of narrowed it down to two primary options. It's a little bit hard to see. Jeff, can you bring up the, let's see. There's a north option, which is basically north and west, would leave, 65 would divert down around in the area of koi, salmon, in that area, if you're familiar with it. It would go along the west side of town, or the east side of town, sorry, the east side of town, over to the north, and then come back in near the intersection of Airport Road. The other option would be to go south of town, leave it about the same location, and then it would come up through, they've got 397 pretty well tagged in that corridor, and then up through Airport Road, and then tie in back at 65, pretty much the same location as the first option. They do have sort of a secondary option with that south route where they would shift west of the airport and then come in not too far from, looks like, where APAC, Arcola has their concrete plant out there.
Just look at this side of the church information.
So, 20 years ago, when this was being discussed, it was from the truck stop in Bellefonte to Bear Creek was what they were looking at for bypasses. I guess fortunately over the years we've learned that completely cutting the city out, especially this close to a state line, is not good for the state as well as the city. So these options that they're looking at are much more closer. They don't leave us completely, I guess, completely left out of the traffic coming at least close to town. Sort of a similar situation to the bypass that was developed in Mountain Home, where there would be opportunity for us to see growth in those directions. Now, we would not be able to have a whole bunch of businesses pop up and tie onto the bypass because it will be semi-controlled access. It'll be limited. So you'd be looking at, especially areas where you've got intersections where they allow connections. Obviously, this part of 65 north of town, you may see some opportunity for development south of town. But through our discussions with the Highway Department, particularly over the last year, I guess, is when we've started having more and more discussions. There's always the concern when the town's bypassed, it's going to kill them. You lose a lot of traffic. I've heard it from some people in the business community here, especially those in the service industry that depend on that traffic coming through town. They don't want to bypass. Highway Department understands that, and we've had discussions. So they did take a look at an alternative, at least the start of an alternative to handle the projected 20-year traffic through town without using a bypass. So that is what this map is. Okay. This is Industrial Park, Maine, the bypass coming in. Right here you got Taco Bell, Mall, just to give you an idea. This is a 6-lane divided highway from that location to about Aldous, where it would neck back down to the existing cross-section it is now. That is just the first of many phases. It would eventually have to expand north up towards Walmart. They'd have to be looking at expanding this back to the existing bypass going further back. Again, I'll say 6-lane divided highway. That means no left turns on or off that road except at signalized intersections. And the amount of right-of-way required for a road that wide, there would be significant takings along this corridor. Just if they used a center line.
Everybody's got a piece of paper in front of them on interval.
Yeah, there's some information from RDOT.
RDOT. It shows the cost factors involved and what businesses will be displaced.
Yeah, if they maintain the same center line and widen equally on both sides, I believe there's 11 or 12, pretty much what you would call total taking, where they would be purchasing business. It would get worse. It gets a little bit worse if they shift it completely to one side or the other, but obviously we'd be taking out a whole one side too. just for the utility relocations, the acquisitions, and then the relocation costs where they would have to help businesses relocate, range from $15.6 million to a little over $20 million. That's not even getting into building the road. That's another $10 million. So for this very first phase of what would be at least 3 getting to the north of town, you'd be looking at over $30 million just to do that. And I don't think this would be very good for business, but that's, can't turn
Well,
around.
you're almost on this whole upper side, I'm gonna say here. We're looking at where the ranch house is and all the way up to Wendy's.
Yeah.
Those businesses will probably cease.
Say Wendy's is listed as a total taking.
Yeah.
You've got some more on here that are listed as total taking. This option that goes on the east side of the city and then up around the north. Two-lane, to do a 2-lane bypass, which is what they would do to begin with. They would get the right-of-way to do a 4-lane in the future, but they would initially do it as a 2-lane. Would cost $32 million, is what they're estimating right now, and that gets the whole corridor. So, they wanted us. Yeah, they've asked for our opinion on what we might prefer, but I don't think. I would recommend this, just to be blunt, and I think even if we picked it, I mean, just from a cost standpoint, that's not going to be an option that they look at. So,
You can see where they're pushing. You can actually see where they're pushing.
yeah,
This rendering here is not, they brought a rendering to us before, when one of them was a super rendering with this big flyover and everything. To handle the traffic 15, 20 years down the road, they say you're almost going to have a 6-lane protect.
yeah, that would be required to meet the projections. Now, with that being said, a bypass is not going to solve our problems either. It's going to make them better, but we're still going to have traffic issues through this corridor. And they do plan on making improvements through that corridor, even if they do a bypass.
Sounds like you actually need both of them.
Well,
Somewhat.
we need improvements here. We don't need a 6-lane freeway through the middle of town.
No, it's not town friendly.
Well, no matter if you make this 6-lane, you're still gonna have a bottleneck at the north and the south ends.
You are until all phases are
All
done.
phases.
Yeah, this would be a nightmare if you're traveling north to
And
get
it's
to all
already in
these.
that now.
So,
And with the reduction in turning, you're gonna have to go up and then go down the residential areas to potentially get to the businesses.
Only way you do U-turns. This is a 16-foot medium where you can have it.
yeah, you would be able to U-turn
U-turn.
at your intersections, but it would all be only at protected left turn traffic signals is where there's no other place you could actually do that. Which would be another part of this that would be highly unpopular to businesses out there.
What about the concept of having access roads? Obviously, with the back of where it is, that's not possible. But,
Space-wise?
well, I'm talking about, for example, when you get to essentially just past Anstaff Bank on the south side of the road, all of those businesses up through there could be accessed with a service road behind every one of them. You're still taking property.
Okay, they're not gonna do the access.
I know they're not going to do the access. I understand that. But that would relieve some traffic because it would put that traffic in signals rather than at.
It would be, but you've also had development that's occurred behind them too, especially if you're getting out north. In this area, looking right behind these businesses that front the highway, you got residential. So when we lose this commercial property, we basically lose any opportunity for commercial on this side of the corridor unless businesses start buying up all these houses, tearing them down and redeveloping that to commercial. And that would probably be something that would happen over time.
Yeah.
Right.
So yes, that would have to happen if something like this occurred. Actually, even on a bypass, with it being a partially controlled access, we will have to be looking at, as development wants to occur along that, and it's within our jurisdiction,
Well, and the
and
mayor,
providing
you and the mayor made a comment that you can see where they're going. Obviously, your left hand has been to the north and the east rather than to the south and the west the entire time.
Well, we don't know that.
We don't know. Indications are that this is the more likely route, but they have not completed environmental studies, and that's what will determine the final preferred option.
Again, your left hand's been
Well, left-handed, so.
okay.
Well, the cost factor is a lot more on the southern route.
It's more, and you're gonna run into some environmental issues on the south route that you wouldn't see on the north route. Although they may, as they go through environmental studies, discover something that's equally as difficult.
They brought up, you don't want to find the Indian barriers around wherever you go. So that's going to stop everybody.
Well, how does this impact the airport? I mean, if you go south.
South, it'd be on it'd come out on the north side of it.
You know, just even if they took over Airport Road and converted that into part of the bypass, that's a difficult construction. Of course, a lot of this will be difficult just because of that.
That's right. Hey, there's nothing easy there. There's nothing with any of this.
So, and RDOT will tell you there is no preferred option right now. It is speculation on the city's part. That's why my hand keeps going for that. Just to be blunt.
We want to put this out because we want feedback, and we want you all to get feedback too.
And we want the public to understand kind of what the two main options are and the consequences of what would happen if we didn't have bypass. I do think that would be, detrimental to the development that's occurred through that area, just because it would be such a total taking. And we would be looking at massive redevelopment, which could be a good thing, but.
Harrison would look completely different.
Yes.
Is the problem northbound or southbound?
Yes.
For north?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Going north, obviously, if you tried to go north out of town on a Friday afternoon, you know how bad that is. And you get a little frustrated with how easily they're going south. But they've got huge problems. I mean, the level of service at intersections in all directions are not good, and they're really not good when you start projecting out 20-year traffic numbers.
There's about 25,000 cars moved from this area right here.
Yeah, the average daily traffic in this area is I think they hit 26,000. When was the last time we got that figure?
But, you know, it's hard to estimate of the, say, 25,000, what percent of that is actually through traffic. People that they don't work here, they don't whatever, live here or whatever, they're just going through Harrison. It's hard to really guess. That figure, someplace was right, like around 7,000 cars. But I may be totally wrong about that. It's real hard.
Does the 5-mile stretch south of Harrison through Valley have any impact on this whatsoever? Because that's going to be not a divided highway. That's going to be what, 5-lane?
Yes.
That's not touched.
I know that, but does it have any impact? I mean, obviously, if you're doing work just south of Harrison, with 5-lane.
Well, the impact is going to be development. What's going to happen is all of that area right there is going to be a hot spot, and this area right up here is going to be a real hot. The development will be pretty heavy around those junctions. And this will be a limited access. I don't know what, probably, we know 7's going to be coming out there. Probably Cottonwood and what else? I don't know.
It depends on the final route and
or
possibly some other things that might develop going forward.
But, you know, this is not very far out of the city, believe it or not. We're looking, it's hard to see, but if everybody knows where Bunker Tower is, and the bunker is, believe it or not, it's on this side of that. We thought it was going to go around but they've made kind of this loop here, I guess, to get out of the housing. But this option here, in either or option, time frame even starting is 10 years. To finish, don't know. Either option is 10 years.
Yeah, there's no set timeline. The only work that they had scheduled in their current STIP, which is the State Transportation Improvement Program, was just the environmental studies, and that's a 7-year program. So, they've not given us really any indication of what the schedule might be, but they've also indicated that it's not going to be quick.
But we do have the intersection of 43 and Rock Springs Road and 65 right here, scheduled for a repaint. Believe it or not, it's already on the books.
It is, and they do have money in the STIP for some improvements along the existing corridor that they've been kind of waiting to get all the final decisions made on which route they're going before they really move forward with those. We're actually partnering with them at 43. We've committed some money to that. And I think I've seen a 60% design set of plans on that. So that's one of those that they can move forward with pretty quickly.
You're going to have to take a lot, well, unless you're just going to stay with a 2-lane. Are you going to have a 4-lane on 43?
There will be additional stacking lanes.
Talk about coming off this.
They're not,
that real close.
it's not going to be improved all the way back.
I wouldn't expect it to watch it to the stoplight.
Well, we're trying to do it. You're talking about from Cottonwood?
Yeah.
From Cottonwood to there, we're working.
We have had discussions with them. They're aware that this is a problem from stoplight to stoplight. That would not be included in that particular.
Because that's on us.
No, because it's more.
That's state highway.
Yeah, but still, I thought.
Well, they'll do the whole thing tomorrow. Guess what? We give them the money.
Well, Moscow's got 38,000. Another reason.
That's designated though.
But, we want to put this out to the public. We want feedback. I'm, believe it or not, 10 to 15 years, or, maybe even, not even close on that, 20 years. What's the traffic going to be like right here? What's the traffic going to be like in 30 years, where we continue to grow? And like I say, this is just phase 1.
Sounds like by the time they start that, you're gonna need another bypass around the bypass.
Well,
They won't allow enough access to that road to cause the problems that have shown up on our existing bypass.
Yeah, 20 years from now, Harrison will change a lot.
Yes.
but whichever way we go is going to affect how we plan our city.
As in the future. As I say, yes. One of the reasons we need to start talking about this stuff now is we have to plan for it from an infrastructure standpoint. Otherwise, we will get the bypass effect because we won't have anything ready for business to go in out there. People will just keep going. So that's one reason why we've got to start having these discussions now. That's one reason why the Planning Commission is looking at a new master street plan that would look at obviously options to improve the problems that we have now, but to also start the planning process to be ready for this bypass to go in.
So they couldn't put a road diet up through there so they quit complaining about the one downtown. Just make it run real smooth and up through there, have trees in the middle.
They can do that, believe it or not.
That'd work.
But you're going to take another
So we're at
50 feet.
I'd bypass around it.
Okay, it's out there. I know you all probably get some phone calls and whatnot on it, but more or less, if we don't sometime in the near future, if we don't give them direction we're gonna be hung. We want them to start this year, not like it looks here, but the rendering they wanted it anyway. But if we went this route, they're not gonna do it. If we came back to the state highway and say, this is what we want done, that intersection will be hung. And can we stand that intersection being that way for 10 years or 15 years?
Wade, is there anything else that can be done? You know, I mentioned the service road aspect. Like I said, there was a service road that went the Hind Ford, or from Rock Springs Road all the way back through there. You could get access to the Dixie Cafe parking lot, Comfort Inn, the banks that are going in, all the way up through there, even to the, I know that, like I said, those things cost money, but is there anything else that the city can do to mitigate the traffic that occurs in there? Like what?
We can roll out his preliminary master street plan. I've got a copy of it.
This is gonna be pretty hard to.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to do. I may have to pass, I will pass this, you put one of these on each side there, and we'll look at them. It's gonna be hard to see up here. Are both them the same?
I'm sorry.
No, they're not.
Just keep classification.
Watch that coffee. No, it's that one of them may be a classification. There's one. That's the right one on the screen.
That's not the right one.
Let me have that back.
Where's the other one?
That's the right one up on the screen. Where'd they go? That was back.
Yeah. That one's right. To answer your question, yes, we need to give local traffic routes and options to get from one side of town, from businesses, to their house, back and forth, without actually driving on 65. So, I mean, that's probably $80 million worth of road improvements highlighted.
Put these away, right?
I'll just go ahead and put that out there. A master plan is not something that you develop and get done in 10 years. But as you can see, a lot of the improvements are in the north part of town because that's where growth has been. That's where we've been having the real traffic issues.
Oh, we've got to protect this area right here because that's Jeff Pratt mine. And he just built a swimming pool. We don't want that's my land.
Well, you know, we can go on all night. I'll leave them, if y'all want to look at them. You want a picture one, do you?
I'd like to get a picture of that.
Oh, okay, we can get out of the way here. Like I say, we can talk about this all night long. We want to throw this out to the public.
This will actually be available for review at the public hearing that will be held on February 15th as well.
That's at 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m., yes. So this will be out for the public to review and comment on as well, and we will be pushing it out over the website and trying to get the information out to the public so they have a chance to look at it as well.
And it is on your Google Docs in the Planning Commission section.
These maps are a little bit better to, you can actually see a little bit. But don't take this. This is just a rendering now and a proposal. That's not, so don't go out there and tell your neighbor, hey,
well,
something's gonna happen.
This corridor that's drawn is about 2,000 feet wide. Obviously, that's not the right of way that they're going to be taking. This is the corridor that they are studying.
Well, and if you look at this, obviously, if you're going through Harrison, the shortest path is through the middle of Harrison. I understand why we don't want to, put a 6-lane highway through Harrison, but, does it save it? Obviously, it would save time because of the traffic signal, just traffic in general. It sure seems odd to go that far north and east that far south, you know.
Just to remind you, the first of what would be at least 3 phases to get from Taco Bell to Walmart, over $30 million.
Right.
This entire bypass.
I can tell you, there again, you tell where your left hand's gonna be in 2 years from now.
Here, I'll do that too.
Okay. Does any of the council people have anything they want to bring up?
Well,
Okay, I will open it up to the citizens that are here. Anybody want to say anything? Oh, well, awful quiet group. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
let's do it.
Second. Motion second. Motion second.